Hey, what's up? Kris Krohn. I am here in Ukraine right now on a humanitarian mission. And today's video is all about what real wealth is, the motive behind wealth, why you want to build wealth, and what you can do with wealth. And I'm joined here by my team right here. How we doing, guys? Yay! Guys, we've been doing a lot of good in the world, and today we got a lot more to do. Join us on today's video. I want to share with you what we're going to be doing out at an orphanage, a women's camp, with children and women who've been abandoned by their husbands in the right cause for the freedom of their country, and what you can do to help be a part of the great good that we're doing here today.
One shot, now the future is yours. Go! I'm turning dreams into reality. Yeah, it's one shot, now the future is yours. Go!
So the reason why I'm here in Ukraine today is because of the original reason why I've been building wealth. The original purpose of wanting to be wealthy, wanting to become a millionaire and then worth 100 million. And the reason why I'm working towards my first billion is not because I want a bigger house. It's not because I want a nicer jet or I want more stuff. The real motivation for me is the fact that there's just a lot of good to do on this planet. And think about it. The first money that you make is obviously to take care of your family, take care of the bills. The next money you make, man, we've got to be given to charity all along the way. That's so that we can become the person that we believe we were meant to. But that extra money is going to increase your lifestyle. It's going to fulfill some dreams. It's going to give you the opportunity to travel with your family and make memories. Man, I love that. That's such an important part of who I am and the incredible memories that I've made. So why build wealth beyond that? Well, for some people, it's, man, I just want to retire rich. I want to be toes up on the beach. And that is true for some people. But my experience of at least a lot of the wealthy people I hang out with is that their drive and passion, their desire to build even more wealth is because they want to become great contributors to society, not just at a small level, like here's $10, here's $100. That can be incredibly meaningful. But to be able to give $100,000 or like we're doing here in Ukraine, $1 million, I've been able to join forces with a lot of amazing entrepreneur brothers and sisters that have helped raise $1 million with my foundation. And we're here doing a lot of great work. Yesterday, for example, we had the opportunity to give, an incredible amount of money worth of medical supplies that are now being distributed to hospitals. And there's a ventilator included in those medical supplies, one of which is for a little 2-month-old girl named Veronica, who, if she doesn't get a surgery out of country in Poland, is going to die. And yet the only way she can be transferred is if she has this ventilator. And so, how much of a dent are we really making here in Ukraine? I don't really know, but I do know that for Veronica, it makes a difference. Later today, we're going to be going to an orphanage, kids whose moms and dads have been lost because of the war here in Ukraine. We're going to be bringing toys and the food and supplies that the orphanage needs to take care of them. Yesterday we met up with Colonel, a war hero really, Colonel Andy Milborn, who has been, unofficially here training up the troops 1 battalion at a time. And we were able to deliver body armor and also trauma kits, medical kits that they can keep on their persons where they receive training on what to do with the tourniquet if someone, is bleeding out, or how to use these very special, gauze packs to stop a bullet wound. We're here, listen, in the one extreme, maybe saving lives, but in another, just trying to spread some cheer, some love, getting people the things that they need. This is what wealth has always been about. So today's video is me taking you on a journey of what we're doing here and also teaching you the principles of finding a deeper motivation, a deeper why of why build wealth, why you want to be rich. Because most people say, well, I don't want to be rich. I just want to have enough for me and my family. And I'm telling you, you want to be rich if you want to make the transition from a selfish life where it's always about you and your family to a selfless life where your community grows and there's more good for you to do on this planet. Join me, subscribe, learn how to build wealth. Let me take you on this little adventure today. Okay, so let's talk about what wealth really is and what it's used for, because check this out behind me. You see all these tents? We're right now here on the border. We're in Poland right now. I just spent the last week in Ukraine. And as I'm coming back through, all of these tents represent different NGOs, organizations, people that want to give. Now, where do these people get this money? Sometimes it comes from donors because they're really good at raising money. Sometimes it comes from the organization itself that is connected to a for-profit business that says, hey, like, we have an excess of abundance, let's use this for good. And yet, wealth is kind of a little bit of a funny game, because I think there's a dialogue out there where people like to talk about the rich versus the poor. And, sometimes we refer to the rich as dirty, rotten, stinking. And sometimes we have the pride of the poor speaking out against the greed of the wealthy. I'm just going to shoot straight and just tell you, I know a lot of wealthy people. And for me, I'm here actually with a lot of them, like very successful entrepreneurs. I've just spent the last week on a mission with individuals who have helped donate over $1 million collectively. And a lot of that came from their own pocket. And I can tell you that these individuals are not significance driven. They're driven by something deeper. They've learned the game of money. And I call it a game because it has rules. And if you follow the rules, anyone can make money if they're willing to learn the rules. Most people are just financially illiterate, so they never learn that game. So giving also too becomes a game, because the better you get at money, the more you have to give. And not that money is the only way to give, but that's meaningful. I want to just kind of share with you a piece here that comes from Rockefeller, right? One of the original of our last century, uber wealthy, and it's titled, Wealth is Really to be Used for Good. In 1906, Rockefeller told a newspaper reporter for the New York American, quote, I believe the power to make money is a gift from God, to be developed and used to the best of our ability for the good of mankind. So it's not really an argument of right and wrong of, well, are wealthy people good or bad? Is giving good or bad? What are the intentions behind it? Is it significance driven? Is it really heartfelt and authentic and real and genuine? I don't think we have to worry about any of that, because money is neutral and it's all in the eyes of the beholder. And so as we talk about this game of giving in today's video, my intention is simple. I want to show you how to become wealthier. That's why a lot of people subscribe to my channel, because the wealthier you are, the easier it is to shift from what I call the selfish life into the selfless life, meaning I got my needs covered and then some. And so what do I do with some of this leftover? Well, I can now produce fulfillment from being more charitable and by having contribution in my life because of how I'm giving in a very meaningful way. Like, for just a moment, what really is wealth? I've heard some people say, well, your health is your wealth, because if you're not healthy, you trade everything you have to get some more time. I've had some people define wealth as love and having really high quality relationships where you've invested deeply into them. And I've also had some people say, well, wealth is also financially in nature, this notion that if you have an excess of money, then there's more you can give. I personally think that wealth is all of these different things. And I really think that in life, there's like a hierarchy, right? When I was young, I was just trying to figure out how to pay my own bills. And as I was trying to figure out how to pay some of my own bills, like, that was just all about me taking care of me, because I was living in scarcity. I was living in fear. I didn't know how I was gonna, pay rent and things like that. Once I got good enough at the game of money that I could keep my head above water and I no longer needed to worry about will I pay my bills or not, that's when I said, okay, so like, what's the next part of my journey that I really want? And for me, it basically turned into a different kind of game. One that said, well, what if I got so good at making money there was leftover? What would I do with it? I'll set it aside for retirement. I'll set it aside, so that I can take some trips with my family. So then I did some of that. But then I realized that for me to have fulfillment in my life, it's not just how much money you have in the bank account. That can still be a scarcity-driven game. I've met many multimillionaires that live in fear because they're in an accumulation mindset. There's only one thing I want to invite you to accumulate, and it's fulfillment. It's memories that matter. So how do you do that? Well, fulfillment isn't something you can buy. I'll tell you right now that I left my family a week ago to come here to Ukraine to deliver body armor, medical supplies, and to help these people fight for their freedom. And what did I really get out of that? One thing: memories. Memories that are chock full of what it felt like to give meaningfully and have it really make a difference. Also figure out what kind of giving didn't really do it for me and what kind of giving was over the top amazing, so that I can learn how to be a more generous giver of my time, my talents, my finances, my wealth. And today, my goal in producing wealth, like as in, I believe I know when I'm going to be a billionaire, and then I want to be a multi-billionaire for one reason. I already have all of my needs met. But now, being good at the game of money, the more I have, the more I can give. So you're going to see for years to come, wow, Kris is in like prime physical peak condition. Wow, Kris spends a ton of time with his family. He doesn't have your typical 40 or 60 or entrepreneur 80 or 100-hour work week. Wow, like Kris is doing well financially. That's because for me, wealth is all of these things combined. It's being healthy. It's being rich in the loves of my life with my wife and my children and my community. But it also means being good enough at the game of money that I can donate and give back, because all three of those things produce feelings for me that you can't buy. They're earned by choices. So I'm here with an extraordinary group of men and women that have just completed phase 1 of this mission to Ukraine. They all came for different reasons. All of them opened up their hearts, their wallets, they gave of their time freely, and frankly, they went into a war zone. In fact, while we were there, we had 5 missiles drop in a single day. True or false, right?
True, yeah.
And so everyone was putting something on the line and being a part of this. And I'd love to just get a chance to hear from some of them. What was their why? Why did they decide to do this? And Lydia from Poland, who is our interpreter, I'm going to start with you. What's your why?
So I have 2 major reasons. One is sort of the general one. What's the reason for humanity if we cannot help each other? Like, what's the point of living? And then, for me personally, when World War II happened, we were not helped as much, really. So, to me, it's important for us for Poles to help to Ukraine, because then that didn't happen for us. So we know how important that is.
Beautiful, thank you. Luis, director of our foundation. What about for you, buddy?
It's family. It's a theme we've been having this entire time, because you're only as strong as those that you surround yourself with. You draw your strength from them. You have to be willing to sacrifice. You have to be willing to give everything, blood, sweat, and tears. So I want to leave a legacy for my daughter to give more than you receive.
Beautiful. I'm going to come to Big Sugar.
Yeah, so for me, it was no longer good enough just to write a check. I've done that for the last 5 or 10 years. And feet on the ground, time, heart, inspiration, being able to help change a life while, sacrificing time away from my wife and kids. And to Luis's point, being able to show my 3 kids, me and Janice, our 3 kids, on what it truly means to give, which leads to growth and more contribution.
I'm going to come to the one and only Sean Callaghy.
Hey, brother. What I think giving is rooted in for me is I believe in God. I believe God gave us talents. I believe that our responsibility and obligation with our talents is to not bury them, to not squander them, but to multiply them. And so I believe someday we'll stand before God and we're going to have answers for our talents. And I want to have the right ones. And if I'm wrong, and like by some crazy happenstance there is no God, what better way to live than to love people? And this trip, Final, was rooted in seeing it firsthand. And it was an extraordinary experience for my heart to see people, to inspire them, to be inspired by them.
Influencer Nick Marietta.
My job is to serve people, because people serve me. I've been so blessed by all the people that served me, gave me the influence that I have in social media, help with my wealth and help with the creation of who I am. And that was all by others serving me, or I would have never got where I'm at, because you can't do it without others. So if you don't serve, you're not going to be served. So I'm here to serve my fellow people.
Beautiful. We got Matt Andrews right here, who has the family mastermind.
Yeah. For me, it's really about going from success to significance. I've been blessed in business. I've had a lot of success. I have great relationships, and I see giving and finding ways to help people as the natural extension of me as a leader, of the next level that I should be reaching. So it's about going from success to significance.
Awesome. We're going to go to Nick's father, 81-year-old Tony.
It's going down there and seeing these people that have lost, some of them even their lives, many of them their houses, and just because of the evil in the world that should have never happened. More people should go there and witness what we have witnessed. I'm sure they'd feel much better about giving more.
Beautiful. And next and final, I'm going to Adam.
So for me, I'm in a unique position where I could stop my life at short notice, and Kris has a bracelet on right here. It just says show up. So I wasn't quite sure where I fit in or what my purpose would be, but I knew I have a skill set that's diverse. And now I do have an actual plan of action with Harvey going forward and how I continue to contribute.
So I'm supporting a notion that giving actually and becoming a more generous person actually makes you more successful in business. And I want to share a couple of points why. Number one, I'm going to claim that giving increases happiness. People who give to charity are 43% more likely than people who don't give to say that they're very happy people. People who give blood are twice as likely to say they're very happy people as people who don't give blood. People who volunteer are happier, and the list goes on and on and on. More importantly, it doesn't just help you with your own personal happiness, it also helps you become that more successful person. I think there's a lot of people out there that say, well, someday if I'm successful, someday when I make it, someday when I have an abundance, a leftover amount of money, I'll then be a giver. And one of my personal friends and mentors, Robert G. Allen, who's one of the OGs of the last 40 years on Nothing Down Real Estate, taught me a very different principle. He said, Kris, we give because we've received. It's not this paying forward where, well, I don't know, maybe if I do good, someday it'll come back around, like I'm trying to ignite karma. It's actually the reverse of that. Like if you're watching this video, chances are you're on a small little magical device that you can ask any question to and probably has an answer. It's actually feeding through a satellite, like we're connected all over the world, or you're wealthy enough to have a desktop. And so chances are if you're watching this, you can comprehend the message and you're still watching in this moment, you've already been tremendously blessed. So let's talk about how happiness increases success. One study found that happy employees are up to 20% more productive than unhappy employees. When it comes to salespeople, happiness has an even greater impact, raising sales by 37%. Happiness provides countless benefits for your health and career. So listen, I think Sean Callaghy, my friend, said it really, really well. He's like, maybe in the end I'm wrong, but I like how I feel in the person that I'm becoming. And if you're a subscriber here on my channel, let me share this final with you. Think about it this way. Who are you going to become in the process of getting where you want to go? We can be very lost in destination thinking. It's like, well, someday I'm going to make X amount of money and then I'm going to be super generous in how I give. But I promise you, if giving was not a part of your journey up until that moment, I got news. You're not all of a sudden going to become a giver, because if you couldn't give along the way, then you had scarcity that was running your mindset. And that's what will run your mindset when you have money. So whoever it is you're trying to become, you have to be that person in the process of arriving at that destination. If you see yourself someday as a philanthropist, or you want to buy your mom a house, or you want to be able to give to some, charity, or you want to be able to help family out, or you want to help strangers out, whatever that motive is, you have to find a way to give when you don't have anything. Because I promise you, you have an hour of your time and talent that you could spend serving. I promise you, $10 somewhere in the world may mean a whole lot more to them than it means to you. In other words, there's a way for you and I to give right now. This mission here to Ukraine, part 1 is done, but part 2 is on the horizon. Right now, we just got word of our next mission. There's a local city, the mayor has reached out. They've asked our partners, Allied Extract, to help get some of the women and children out, and some of the elderly that may not be able to get out in time with the Russian soldier approaching. If you want to be a part of this next mission, there is a link below. Click it, donate. You have a chance to help give in such a meaningful way. And thank you for watching today's video.